Now for global business updates, Rotus Oddiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Dr. Abasi. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Vimbai. Good morning to all our viewers. Yeah, we're, I think, officially in holiday mode now. We're seeing trading volumes thinning. No, trading volumes are thinning. I mean, even in Nigeria, although the market fell yesterday, but Shanghai Composite Index up this morning, even though we saw industrial profits in China falling in October year on year. So there's still a bit of a struggle there for some of the industries, particularly the property sector, but the market was still up. The Hang Seng was up, even though three stocks, and we'll get to that in a moment, Baidu, Alibaba and BYD were added to a list, this watch list that the government releases, the Pentagon releases every January. So I'll get to that. Market was still up. The Nikkei in Japan was up, even though the Wall Street Journal is reporting that President Trump, in his call with Takaichi, cautioned her against mentioning Taiwan, although Japan came out and denied that that was the case. So she seems to still be standing firm by her comments on China and Taiwan. And there was, of course, that tragic fire that I think the death toll now is about 30-something folks that have been in Hong Kong, in high-rise tower. But, still the market is generally positive. Kospi up, the India's Nifty, and I think Nifty has hit a new high, I believe, up as well. And the ASX 200 in Australia growing too. So, can we get to those three? Do we have those three stocks? Yes, there we go. So sticking with Asia. So Alibaba, remember we went through their earnings yesterday, down by 2.39%. So these are the three stocks that the Pentagon is looking at adding to this military watch list. They're basically saying, I mean, you've tried and tested. The U.S. has always accused a number of firms of being tied to the Chinese military. That's why TikTok was banned under the Biden administration, and then Trump has been trying to get that fixed. So Alibaba, Baidu, the search giant, and BYD, the electric vehicle company, these are all their shares in Hong Kong trading this morning. So it's just the U.S. I mean, there's no legal actions being taken, just the U.S. telling investors, look, just be careful. I think Alibaba came out and released a statement saying there's nothing behind this. We have nothing to do with Chinese military. On and on we go. So from Asia, now we get to the budget. Look, I think there was just some relief in the UK. The FTSE 100 was up. Bond yields didn't really spike down. Although there was, right before Rachel Reeves gave her speech yesterday, the Office of Budget Responsibility, the OBR, released their outlook before she spoke. So that actually caused a little bit of turbulence. And I hear the head the head of the OBR might lose his job. He's going to speak to Parliament. But by and large, I mean, it's about £26 billion in tax increases, but they're calling it spend now, tax later budgets because they're pushing I think they have an eye on the election in the UK. Keir Starmer and Reeves are pushing the tax increases down the line. But the 2026 GDP outlook cut to 1.4% for the UK. Still very tepid growth. Productivity is still a problem in the UK. They've frozen income tax thresholds from 2020, 2030, 2031. So again, that's something that's, again, pushing that out. And I know there's a wealth tax now, although I hear this might be challenged. If your home is worth at least £2 million or higher, you're going to get it taxed. And I think there's also some taxes on vehicles as well. So by and large, the market was just relieved to just get this over with, although there's still some criticism that there's not enough being done and as far as welfare and so on and so forth. But, Reeves, she seemed to have, she threaded that needle yesterday. U.S. stocks climbed for a fourth day. They are closed, of course, today for the Thanksgiving holiday. Dow Jones, S&P, NASDAQ, the Russell 2000, all pointing upwards 4 consecutive days now, stretching back to last week, Friday. And airlines are, of course, in view. So these particular stocks all rising. American Airlines was up, Delta, Alaska Airlines, United Airlines, Southwest. And why is that? Investors were putting some money in airline stocks because there's supposed to be a record number of travelers in the United States between now and December 1. The Airlines for America group estimates 31 million airline passengers between November the 21st and December the 1st. And, they're just coming out of the shutdown. There's some staff shortages, so they're expecting big lines and some very irritated airline passengers this Thanksgiving period. Markets will reopen tomorrow, but the trading will be very, very limited. To Nigeria, Unfortunately, the bears returned yesterday. All share index falling by 0.4 of a percentage point to 143,64,000 points. So year to date now we are at 39%. Again, still decent return so far for Nigerian stocks. And as I've mentioned, I think trading volumes tells its own story. I mentioned this yesterday, but I didn't have this tweet. So again, as I said, holiday mode. The states are getting ready to bring in travelers. This is from the Oyo State Ministry of Culture and Tourism. I mentioned this in passing, but they said, Oyo State is ready to take you on a journey of entertainment and non-stop fun. Get ready for the official. They have their own hashtag Vibing December, and they're ready. I mean, if you go and check the tweet, they have a full calendar of events, where it's happening, what it is, and so on and so forth. So they're really trying to take the shine away from Lagos. But Lagos is not sitting on its oars. The Lagos State Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture is actually hosting stakeholders to talk about safety this year for Detty December, handling crowds, and also they want to stretch this beyond December. Lagos State wants this to be something that's continuous through the year to keep bringing tourists. So, and even Imo State is advertising not just on Arise, but also on other international networks. A number of states are really taking tourism seriously this period. So we'll see how it goes in terms of spending.
Rotus, we're spoiled rotten for choices this December. Whether you want to go for the carnival in Calabar, whether you're headed to Vibing December in Oyo. And Abuja also have their own, I can't remember the term, but they've created their own term as well. And I mean, it's great to see that this economy is taken advantage of. Very quickly, I'll touch on the leak of that budget yesterday, of the OBR budget, before Rachel Reeves announced it, which has now become a huge scandal because it needs to be investigated. How does the budget get, leaked to the public before it's officially been released? And I believe they're getting some cybersecurity experts involved in that. But honestly, at this moment, Rachel Reeves doesn't need that type of damage to her confidence because, we've seen that the sentiment towards her is still extremely frosty.
All right, on Rachel Reeves, there was a Daily Express headline that talked about it having a Labour heart. But the criticism by other parties like the Conservatives and other opposition parties is the fact that against their campaign promise, they are going to be taxing more working people, especially through their income tax freeze up until you're projecting 2030 to 2031. And this is because of inflation numbers. That it means that more people will be paying more taxes, despite the fact that it wouldn't reflect in their everyday reality or disposable income, meaning that more people are getting more taxed. But it seems like she got a little lightly. The Welsh government is also not happy with her. They're saying that they excluded Wales from the general, and of course I keep up with Welsh news, so they had a vote of no confidence there at the Senate. But beyond that is, I love what is happening in Nigeria around tourism, and each state taking responsibility for its tourism. Yesterday I asked the question that should it be at federal level, because Detty December seemed to be a nationwide event, such that the Minister of Culture, Tourism had actually said was mulling the idea of a task force for Detty December, but other states are taking it up, and I love it. So let's see, and I hope at the end of the year we're able to truly measure the impact of this thrust of tourism in these states, and very importantly, what infrastructural development each state have been able to provide as a result of this tourism move.
Quickly, on a humorous note, Rotus, that your Detty December, Vibing December report is not complete. You left out Ogun State, where they have developed infrastructure afresh in all the tourist sites. Maybe you investigate that,
yes,
and you bring a special report
for sure
on the efforts being made in Ogun State. But tourism will generate revenue, will promote culture. And by the way, one of the problems in England is that they are trying to introduce a tourism tax. If you sleep overnight in London, you will be charged tax. And the big issue yesterday with Rachel Reeves was about taxation. That will be up to the tune of about 26 billion pounds. Now, if you drive a hybrid electric vehicle, you pay 1.5p. If it is an electric vehicle, you pay about 3p or
If you have money, you tax it.
So thresholds have been provided for national insurance, for income tax.
Yeah.
So for the next 4 years, you will pay more up till 2031. And that's why people are saying, look, Labour promised that they will not tax people. Yeah. But the Chancellor is saying, well, this is a very good proposal. It's to ensure security and all of that. But it was Kemi Badenoch, once upon a time, Nigerian sister, who is now more British than the British, who said that the budget itself was total humiliation because the Chancellor disappointed the people in our own estimation. And then in any case, the fact that more taxes will come. Yeah. Nobody likes the tax man. Anyway, finally, Thanksgiving. The markets in the UK are doing very well. It was early Thanksgiving yesterday with all the indexes doing well. But what will happen after? That's the major thing. Yeah. Particularly when the Federal Reserve meets next week and it doesn't cut rates, then there will be a sell-off in that market. Let's wait till then to assess the reality. Yes, in China, industrial profits collapsed by about 5%. The deflationary trend is still continuing. Weak consumer demand, the crisis with the US over trade and all of that. China still needs to manage that. Maybe it will still end the year with 5% GDP on the average. Thank you very much, Rotus.